Thank you very much, James. I am here together with my good friend Johan Le Tot Merlo as we are getting ready for a classic of Meisterschafts, an amazing StarCraft, yeah. Because when it's big game time, I get a little excited, Johan. You know we are destined for greatness when these two go up against each other. In the right bottom side of Disco Bloodbath, we're looking in the main base of our German Protoss. He is the one and only hella handsome ShoWTimE.
His opponent in the red, representing Mouse Sports and playing Terran, it is Big Gabe, aka HeRoMaRinE.
Just want to let everybody know that even though we were just fanboying out over a beautiful picture of ShoWTimE for roughly 3 minutes on that dust segment, and I heard some weird sounds as well, some
and Big wasn't even there.
Yes, I know. Imagine if he was, by the way. But we are still casting a StarCraft 2 tournament. It's been, even though we had a couple of short series, it's still been a pretty long day, right? We've been here since 8 a.m. a little bit, or maybe a little bit after that, but we've seen some good stuff, Todd. We've seen a couple of one-sided series. I was wrong about the last two that I thought were going to be close, but I also think that this one is going to be close. I mean, these two, they know each other. They're evenly matched. How could it not be?
You know what? If we go down together. I think it's going to be close as well. No, honestly, like these two, I feel like they're pretty well or evenly matched. Obviously, both of them play at a very, very high level in the WCS circuit scene. And I think it shouldn't be any different there. Like, I expect a back and forth. I don't particularly expect short games either. You know, neither player is really known for like cheesing out of their minds. So, you know, they're gonna want to macro, go up to 3 bases, and then kind of start and get into each other's faces from their small skirmishes early on.
I must say, I'm actually kind of surprised to see a bunker this early on this map. This map is massive, Todd. Like, there's no way an adept can just make its way to the other side of the map before, like, that command center is even done, or that Marine shows up. Like, it's a super safe opening here, coming out of HeRoMaRinE. He seems to be very worried.
Some stuff happened in his previous games,
yeah.
I mean, I guess.
All right, this is like a Terran that's clearly traumatized, but the last time he has played this map, maybe he played some NA ladder to warm up this morning. That's where it goes wrong, okay? It scars you for life. I've been there, I've lived there for a couple of years. Yeah, I'm a bit confused. It seems a little overly safe to me on a map this big.
Yeah, well, sometimes if you're not confident, you know, in being able to scout early on and seeing one of those attacks coming and you die to it, a good way to make sure that doesn't happen is just to take the safe route. Like, obviously, that means that your economy is not going to be where you would like it to be, but at least you're safe early on, you stay alive, and then you kind of go into that later stage of the game in a good position, as we do see the starport now on the way from HeRoMaRinE. We no longer rush distance on this map. What do you think? We see like maybe more drops and not nearly as much commitment to actually, you know, attacking with big chunks of armies, or?
Yeah, I think there's going to be, I think the 4-base setup, that's where things get pretty complicated for Protoss. I am not surprised to see ShoWTimE opening up with Blink here. It's just so good defensively, right? You can really control the pace of the game. You get your Robo, you get a couple of observers out. You can see those medavacs coming in time. The only thing that I've noticed when I've played this map, maybe like 10, 15 times so far against Terran in macro-oriented games that is that like you often take your 3rd base if you're ShoWTimE at 6 o'clock, right? Or let's say it's 5 o'clock. But then the 4th, that's where things get a little bit tricky, because then often all of your units are there near the front, and then suddenly you get dropped into the main base, and then by the time you make it back into the main...
The mine?
Some splash damage, actually.
I thought he was going to unburrow, but I think... Was he not sure it was an illusion or something?
I don't know.
Kind of weird.
Maybe he just doesn't care.
It's Big Gabe.
Yeah.
I hate it. I don't even worry about these things, as we have an eBay now on the way, Robo being added on from ShoWTimE, and I mean, ShoWTimE, he's just so solid. I feel like they both are, but ShoWTimE, also known as the Wall, and he's got his nickname because whatever you throw at him, he's usually able to defend, and he has such great defense, which is one of the important traits to have as a Protoss player.
Yep, he's gonna get a couple of stalkers. I kind of like the stalker positioning here, right? It's in between the natural and the main base. He knows there is going to be a drop. He's chrono boosting Blink, by the way, but the drop is gonna show up right before Blink is ready. So this is annoying. It's probably gonna cost 2 probes. No, somehow ShoWTimE gets lucky and doesn't even lose the first probe that went into that assimilator. So the only good news here for HeRoMaRinE is that he gets out of there with the medevac, and that's very important, especially if you go up against this Zealot Stalker style that ShoWTimE is playing.
Yeah, you want to keep those alive. We'll see how many gases ShoWTimE actually takes here, because he did rush that third base pretty quickly. He's only up to a third one right now. And we've seen some Protosses in the past even rush that fourth base without taking any more gases before dropping down. A massive explosion de gate, just like you like it.
No, this is a good map for it. I like that observer on the north side of ShoWTimE's base because, you know, I think Nathaniel has mentioned it a couple of times, there is quite a bit of airspace here. So you want to make sure you see those drops coming in time. But so far, so good. If I do this opening of ShoWTimE and I only lose 2 probes and let's say 2 or 3 seconds of mining time, I'd be like, all right, that is a very successful start for me.
Yeah. If I lose 6 probes, I'm like, it's a good start for me.
No, you can't do that, right? That's a few too many Marines. That's a bit risky there. ShoWTimE spots that there is quite a bit of bio.
He would love to trade some shields here for actual damage, but HeRoMaRinE is really doing a good job in not letting that happen. It just looks so clean when ShoWTimE plays. Look at that third base, just fully saturated already. Minute 6.
Yep, he's going to try to be annoying here. Really wants to get a Marauder. Does grab one Marauder. But there is one more drop. And this is the one downside when you're this far out with your Stalkers. You're actually quite weak at home. I really like this drop, by the way, by HeRoMaRinE. I think it's perfect. Because ShoWTimE wants to delay a push that's coming by ground. So he's like, yeah, look at me. I'm just going to buy some time with my Stalkers, then I'm going to warp in a lot of Zealots at home. But if you then get dropped in your main base start, that can really catch you off guard. I think it's a brilliant play by HeRoMaRinE, but don't forget about that Observer that ShoWTimE did have.
Yeah, Combat Shield just completed here. The Observer will miss this attack. The second one will see it, and charge already finished here. ShoWTimE needs to be paying attention, needs to warp in units inside of the main base. I don't think he's going to want to recall his Stalkers. Just for this.
Man, I love this by HeRoMaRinE. Really, really good drop. He's going to be able to unpower. Whoa, quite a few gateways. And don't forget about the rest of the army. He can send all of the Zealots because those Stalkers thought they need some backup. Look at that force. There's no way is he going to get that. With 2.7 seconds left, he will not. But takes a look at the left side, Mapu, as HeRoMaRinE is getting closer and closer towards his base.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of units here. The Widow Mines in particular, very, very scary. ShoWTimE dodges one of those shots. He has going to have to pull back here. Guardian Shield was still active. How did he only lose 4 probes?
Yeah, he lost a lot of mining time. He pulled everything back almost immediately. I must say, I really like the play by HeRoMaRinE, but good job. No, he forgot about the medevac. Well, that's a kind of a shame because that was full of Marines as well. So where I felt that things were all right for HeRoMaRinE, I don't think it's a disaster, but I think he was hoping for a little more, Johan.
Yeah, he committed a lot to this. Like, it was a third command center very late and on location here, so that's going to finish much later than when ShoWTimE actually saturated the third base. And usually from there, already having the double forge working for ShoWTimE is where he gets to choose whether he wants to go for Colossus or High Templars with adding on additional gases and taking that fourth base, I'm sure, momentarily here.
But this is also that moment where I mentioned, like, imagine if HeRoMaRinE had 2 extra medevacs here. There are a couple of extra medevacs coming in. If you grab everything right now, you drop into the main. That's so awkward for ShoWTimE because ShoWTimE has a lot of units on the left there, and that's exactly what HeRoMaRinE is going to do.
Yeah, I mean, ShoWTimE is doing such a good job of keeping track of this army as well. Like, he was moving his army close to it to see it. He has the 2 observers on the right-hand side.
I think HeRoMaRinE really needs to snipe those observers. I know that's a tough task because it's hard to spot them always, but if you really pay attention to it as a Terran player, these guys are good enough to find these observers more often than not, and it is so important to take away map vision of the Protoss.
It actually goes for a Templar Archive. I agree with you, by the way. Like, if he doesn't remove these 2 observers, like, dropping through the right-hand side will basically be impossible the whole time. Ghost Academy on the way for HeRoMaRinE, so how do you like that, seeing that it was indeed a Templar Archive from ShoWTimE?
I think it's perfect, especially like if we think a little bit deeper into the game, with maybe we get to see that upgrade, the enhanced shockwave.
You mean the son of...
Yeah, they're basically bigger than the sun. The EMP radius will slightly expand. There is a War Prism there. There's a good cancel though, by the way, on this fourth base. If you play this style of ShoWTimE, you're actually not used to defending this much, especially not on a map that is this long. What normally happens is that you defend that first push and then you chase the army down forever.
He's going for it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Widow Mines here, though, and if you don't have any Colossus or Storm, this is actually a very difficult fight for ShoWTimE. I don't like it. I mean, sure, Immortals are very good, and that's the one thing that's helping out here a little bit, but that was not that pretty of a fight for our German Protoss.
Yeah, there was one more Guardian Shield here to help with this. Zealots are going to be warped in across the map. You're going to want to drop a bunch of Zealots and then warping a ton on top of that to really force the Terran back home. And then maybe you try and engage his army out on the map at the same time, because you can't kite in both places against charge lots. That's the big problem here for Terran. That's what makes these Zealots oh so scary in these situations.
I love that Viking. I really do. It's still around. Actually spots the Prism there as well. HeRoMaRinE is playing an excellent game. Now we get a Robo Bay and a second Robo, but Johan, it's going to take a long time before Colossus will truly have an impact in this game. Of course, there are High Templars to buy time. There are a couple of Storms available, but we do have our first Ghost on the battlefield as well. There's a scan. Picks up that Observer immediately. Well done. Did not see that High Templar on the high ground, though, and it's a pretty big Storm.
Yeah, the Widow Mine will get sniped as well. After detonating on one of these Zealots, there is 5 High Templars for 6 Ghosts. And HeRoMaRinE is still posturing forward on the other side of the map. The War Prism will sneak in as he's getting chased down here.
That's nothing, though.
By a Viking that's going to get completely shut down here. So nicely done by HeRoMaRinE. He was ready for this the whole time.
It almost felt like he wanted it. He's like, please commit to it so I don't have to worry about it anymore. ShoWTimE is actually going to recall that Prism. I mean, yeah, I guess it is a rather expensive unit these days, though. 250 minerals. I asked myself late at night, should I even build one?
The answer is usually yes.
Actually, always. It's still pretty good, guys, for 250 minerals.
ShoWTimE are going for the 3-2 upgrades here.
Ooh, I like the Disruptors, though. Disruptors are very good against Ghosts, because Ghosts are obviously rather slow. And Colossus, like I said, it would take a little while, especially because you kind of want to get Thermal Lens as well. This is it. He's going to try to land the EMPs. EMPs do connect with at least a couple. Hits those High Templars that dropped outside of the War Prism as well. And now this is going to be a very easy pickup for HeRoMaRinE. But he's kind of trapped, though, Todd, there on the left side. ShoWTimE knocked down those rocks. There are Disruptors.
He's trying to bait the shots here from these EMPs. ShoWTimE pulling back at the last second. HeRoMaRiNE's going for the kill. A massive Purification Nova. We actually missed a little bit of this army here. There's still some ghosts left over. 22 probes have got down. HeRoMaRiNE still kiting his way back out of this one to try and force a worse fight here from ShoWTimE than he would get otherwise. But with that 4th base going down and HeRoMaRinE securing his own now, he's in a great spot in this game.
HeRoMaRinE and Time are both so good in avoiding those Disruptors, Todd. Like, you can let me play Terran 100 games and I would not be able to avoid them like that. I'd be like, oh, 5 Ghosts just went down. Well, that's a shame. I guess I shouldn't have taken that fight. Really good micro so far. I think HeRoMaRinE is playing an absolutely fantastic game. I really think it all started with that first drop that just got a little bit of momentum and freed up a lot of space in the middle of the map, right? And that allowed him to start pushing. This War Prism was already injured. That means it's now actually going to go down. And these 3 Zealots, they really won't accomplish that much either.
Yeah, that one's Stalker, thanks to the shield battery here. Gonna hold strong. He's gonna get the snipe on the Minivac. Nice defense here from ShoWTimE, but his army at the front has so many ghosts indeed. 9 of them with quite a bit of energy for some massive EMPs.
9, says the German Gabe. When you ask him how many ghosts he should get in this matchup. The only thing is, though, Disruptors are still very, very scary. And like I said, there's always a good chance. I love there is an SV in the mix here. Eventually, one of these... Whoa! Massive overkill. Geez, ShoWTimE. What did that SCV ever do to you? I mean, it's still a bit risky. I think ShoWTimE is absolutely still in it, but he needs some big splash damage, Todd. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to win those fights.
Even some SCVs apparently want a piece of the action.
Whoa. Oh, well,
all right.
Yeah, that's the start. But ShoWTimE feels kind of broke, man. He's down 16 workers, and HeRoMaRinE just does not allow him to get a 4th base. This is some stunning Terran play, Todd. I am genuinely enjoying this, and I am very, very impressed with the skill that HeRoMaRinE is showing us here.
Absolutely. He's never really overextended either. Like, we see him pull back now. And he's using that as a distraction. He re-engages on the right side. Still has some ghosts there as well.
Oh my god, that's so much splash damage coming in from every angle.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah. I think he wants a couple of Disruptors here, man, because ShoWTimE really doesn't have that much that's good against Disruptors, but he's got a lot of stuff that's very good against ground units, Johan.
Yeah, I don't know what ShoWTimE has to have happened here. Like, how bad the connections would have to be for him to...
I don't know if I said Disruptors, by the way. I mean Liberators. I really think that HeRoMaRinE should just get Libs. I think if you get like 6 or 7 Liberators here, you're going to force a very bad fight out of ShoWTimE.
I think he might eventually. I mean, he's getting air weapons upgrades here. right now already.
I'm just wondering what he's waiting for. Because the longer he waits, the closer ShoWTimE is going to get to being maxed out, and the more likely it is that ShoWTimE gets an absolutely fantastic fight.
Yeah, there it is. Starts one more starport, fusion core, to try and probably get advanced ballistics. Personal cloaking on the way as well for this Ghost. ShoWTimE is holding on for now.
What is happening over here on the left? I mean, they're both flanking each other. That High Templar is going to try to land a storm. There's still quite a few disruptors here, though. Good EMP on a couple of these disruptors. Do you really want to steam forward here, HeRoMaRinE? It's risky. I mean, HeRoMaRine's army is bigger, but there are so many disruptors and quite a few High Templars still in the mix as well.
He's looking to land some massive EMPs. One single Ghost goes forward. He's going to connect big time. Tries to split as well as he can to negate the damage from the Purification Nova. Some good dodges. Is there enough for HeRoMaRinE?
Now, Zealous coming in from the left side as well. That was very well done by ShoWTimE. And finally, ShoWTimE pushes his army back for real. I really think that HeRoMaRinE just waited a bit too long there and delayed the Liberators for too long. I didn't see Advanced Ballistics being researched yet, by the way. I mean, a little bit eager here, but HeRoMaRinE should really back off before he throws away too many units. All you need against an army like this is a couple of Liberators with Advanced Ballistics, and then it becomes so much harder for the Protoss to land those big AoE spells.
And HeRoMaRinE made a bunch of additional command centers, so he can take new bases, but ShoWTimE's the one on the offensive now. He's confident, especially with the threat of the disruptors. It's so hard for HeRoMaRinE to actually properly engage into this. He has to do the tango.
It's very, very good news here for HeRoMaRinE that there is no Warp Prism. Otherwise, I'd be so afraid that he could actually just lose the game here. I love the counter-attack. He's going to try to get the fourth base here. There are a couple of High Templars, but I don't think Storm is available. Oh my goodness, that's 4 Archon stud. I don't even know how much gas that is. Maybe 1200. It's so much gas, okay?
It is. Yeah. I think you were right, by the way. He has enough medivacs to escape, but the Stalkers are close enough that they're going to go for the pick-off. There were some ready in the main as well. HeRoMaRinE may be trapped inside of that main base. Those Stalkers can't wait to blink soon enough.
I don't hate it though. It's buying time and he has a much better economy, and B, it's allowing him to get advanced ballistics and more Liberators out on the battlefield. Sure, he ends up losing out of those units, but the army is back home again. HeRoMaRinE is no longer in danger of losing his game immediately, and his army will only become bigger and better. I would like to see him get a few more Ghosts though. Like the combination of Ghosts and Liberators is really good, because once upon a time he had 9 Ghosts. Now he's got 0, but other than that, I still think HeRoMaRinE is more than fine.
Get out of here, Widowmines. And ShoWTimE now is in a position where he still has a good disruptor counts, and he's trying to make something happen with it. It's almost as if he's okay knowing that there's going to be counterattacks, because he always pulls back properly or like warps in and not back enough to defend. Does he want to commit? I don't think so.
Different ball game once advanced ballistics show up, Johan. Suddenly your gateway units don't feel that powerful anymore. Another amazing counterattack there by HeRoMaRinE on the south side. ShoWTimE did not see that army at all. ShoWTimE is going to try to get this orbital, but this base was pretty much mined out anyway. And the Liberator count is just getting ridiculously high. A couple of High Templars went down there as well, or at least one of them went down. 1 or 2 storms do connect, but yeah, these are just not fights that ShoWTimE can take, because you look at the bank top, it's non-existent.
They're both using the mobility of their army so well. ShoWTimE knows that all he has to do is stay outside of these liberation zones. He still can threaten. He has quite a few Stalkers here to maybe go for the snipe on these guys, and all like HeRoMaRinE counterattacked with the perfect amount of units. HeRoMaRinE setting up a flank here from behind. He's gonna come in and kill so many of those disruptors. They're very hard to replace.
This is so... HeRoMaRiNE's micro is so sick, Johan! How well done was that? These Liberators are pushing this entire Protoss army back, and I'm sure there's a lot... Oh my goodness, he gets that one too. Big Gabe with an A+ performance in this game. Johan, this is almost Terran perfection. I really love what HeRoMaRiNE is showing us over here. I think he has played a stunning, phenomenal game.
Yeah, his micro has been insane here. Against that many High Templars and Liberators, doesn't usually take that many to be Terran, but HeRoMaRiNE knows he's the disruptor whisperer. He's dodging so many of these shots, and he's gonna have enough, I think, left over here to finish this game.
Yep, Liberator's coming closer and closer. ShoWTimE knows that he cannot afford to lose that base. He's gonna try to send a couple of Zealots to counterattack, and I do really enjoy that move. But 5 more Ghosts show up. EMPs will rain down on this Protoss army, and HeRoMaRiNE takes the 1-0 lead, where he didn't even necessarily have the best start, right? That Widowmine drop didn't really work out in the way you dream of, but he played good, man. He played really, really good.
He doesn't need to do an incredible amount of damage, as long as he takes, you know, that third base not too late. It was definitely a later one compared to what you see sometimes. The attack and pressure was finding a little bit of damage here and there. I feel like he definitely started doing well as soon as he unpowered those gateways and forges inside of the main base. And
Yeah,
kinda,
no, that's a start, absolutely.
yeah, through ShoWTimE of his game from there.
Because it creates space, right? Like, A, ShoWTimE can no longer pay attention to those stalkers in the middle of the map that were trying to slow down the push. And B, ShoWTimE now has to send a lot of units to the main base, which frees up the entire left side of the map, which allows HeRoMaRinE to walk forward, get a cancel on the fourth base. And if you play Zealots and Stalkers, Gateways, Double Forge, you're supposed to get 4 bases very quickly. And you're actually supposed to be winning those fights in the middle of the map, especially on such a big map like Disco Bloodbath, where it's really hard for Terran to reinforce their pushes. But yeah, that one drop with 8 Marines, I really think was the MVP move of this game. But the micro, the pickoffs,
that was so high level.
Very, very well done. Time showed some really good stuff. I don't know how that series ended, guys, but Time versus Australia Game 2 on Thunderbird is one of the best games I've seen all tournament long. I absolutely love that micro, but this was very, very good G2.
And he's so far the only Protoss to make it to the round of 8. ShoWTimE would be the second one.
So we still have hope for that 3-3-2 ratio distribution. Is that possible?
No, there's going to be 4 Zergs.
Oh, okay, well, I mean, we can be pretty happy with that, though. We've had 8 before. So. All right, we'll see what Game 2 has in store for us. I actually think that was a good map for ShoWTimE, though. The second map is going to be played on Acropolis. I would also say it's a pretty damn decent Protoss map, but we'll see how it plays out. In the left top side, we're looking at the main base of the best Protoss when it comes to the European region. It is ShoWTimE.
His opponent in the red, representing Mousesports and Germany as well. Give it up for Big Gabe, aka HeRoMaRinE.
All right, Todd, translate that for me.
This is the Facebook group where you can find players and events as well.
Oh, from Quebec.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Who do you think is the best player from Quebec?
Is it Samper?
Yeah? Is he from Quebec?
I think so.
I thought he was from Toronto. I don't think that qualifies. But I could be wrong. All right. I actually would not be surprised at all to see ShoWTimE play the exact same strategy, Todd, because there is nothing wrong with the strategy. That is just one of those builds where it comes down to execution. And in Game 1, the execution of HeRoMaRinE was simply a little bit better than the one of ShoWTimE. But it doesn't mean you suddenly have to go crazy and be like, oh God, maybe I should go like Oracles, even though I haven't practiced it in a while. Like, no. You gotta do what you feel best at. And I think this is a good map for Blink Stalkers and Zealots as a start as well. The only thing is, though, and this is personal, but I always prefer going into the Colossus first before Storm. And the reason is, if you play Double Forge, I feel like that's so sweet for Colossus, right? Because then you already have those upgrades, and the Colossus will benefit so much of those upgrades. Well, if you play High Templars, the Double Forge doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think ShoWTimE can look at the last game and say, like, the unit composition and transitions that it was going for were the problem. It was a little bit more the split, and that, again, that first medic backdrop that started finding damage. So I think just focus on that. Focus on the defense a little bit more. A little bit uncharacteristic for ShoWTimE to take damage, actually, to some of these attacks. You know, he's known as the Wall. Usually he's very good at minimizing those. He did that with the first drop, but after that, definitely suffered more damage than maybe he would have liked to.
Yeah, the bases were quite spread out, though, and that's still a relatively new map, right? Let's not forget about that either. I mean, obviously these guys have been practicing it for a little while, and I can only imagine that ShoWTimE has done at least 20, 25 PvTs on that map so far, but that's still a bit different than having done 200 PvTs on a certain map, right? Like, if you think of Thunderbird or probably Acropolis now as well, they obviously have way more games on this map than they have on some of those newer maps that just got introduced a couple of weeks ago.
Maybe the fact there's disco in the name gives HeRoMaRinE some kind of advantage as well.
I mean, if I have believed, he has been in his element, right? In the past, in a certain Take TV event, I saw he was partying it up a little bit.
He looked pretty good on the dance floor.
What if that panda in the middle of Disco Bloodbath is actually Big Gabe?
Oh my God.
Those are his moves.
That would be so sick.
I mean, if I was a map maker, I would put Gabe in the middle.
I'm sure he'd be real amused.
No, I would make a Mount Rushmore with 5 times Big Gabe's face to truly make a good tribute to his greatness. It's going to be the same opening here by ShoWTimE, and I think that makes total sense, Johan.
Yeah. I mean, ShoWTimE is extremely good with this opener. Like, Kind of reminds me of Zest, you know, like when Zest is opening Blink, all is well in the world. Like, you know, kind of what to expect. Like, he's going to be really good with the defense, or whether he wants to be offensive and
I like this,
hold off
actually.
against the pushes, and it's the same for ShoWTimE.
HeRoMaRinE is going up to 3 bases very, very quickly, right after he took care of that first hallucinated Phoenix scout. And even though this is a pretty greedy opening by ShoWTimE, because you go up to 3 bases very quickly, there is a point where you kind of stop building probes for a little bit, because you get a little bit worried, right? You want to get all those gates, you want to make sure you have enough units out, and if HeRoMaRinE can keep ShoWTimE in the dark for a while, HeRoMaRinE can actually be the one who ends up with a better economy, and that's obviously quite insane in this matchup. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a little bit harder to get out of this base with the medevac this time, but Gabe is going to try because he is Big Gabe.
Oh, he's trying to sneak in there.
No, you can do that. Yeah.
ShoWTimE well ready for the medevac drop.
Yeah, really good positioning once again on the Stalkers. I think it makes sense because he has his Zelniger Watchtower. He's like, well, I didn't see a medevac. I also have the Nexus below my natural. I didn't see a medevac there. So it's just very likely that it is somewhere near my main base. It's a little bit of a guess, but it's an well-calculated guess by ShoWTimE.
Process of elimination to try and gain the information. I wonder if he might try and hide the Stalkers, because he sees where the medevac is.
Yeah, of course.
So if he would move outside of the vision and actually let HeRoMaRinE drop, but I mean, sometimes I've done that and I lost 20 probes, so want to be careful.
Yep. All right, so I believe that the Phoenix saw everything right now, right? Can we just confirm that real quick, Mapu? It saw that command center, and that's the most important one on the left bottom side. So that's a good scout, because this actually allows ShoWTimE to get a few more probes. And if I'm ShoWTimE, Johan, I actually tack up a little bit quicker now than I normally do when I play this opening, because against a 3-base Terran or a very strong economy, Zealots and Stalkers are going to fall off eventually. If the HeRoMaRinE count gets too high, if the bio ball becomes too big. So this is a moment where I would go into Storm or Disruptors or Colossus a little bit quicker.
And we just saw him chrono boost his Nexus, so he wants to get as many probes out as soon as possible.
Oh man, poor
What
Gabe.
a sick catch.
Yep. I mean, he has Blink, so he can actually activate his mines without losing anything. Very well done. That's kind of frustrating for HeRoMaRinE, right? You babysit that drop for quite some time. You feel like you play so cautious and careful with it, and then you still just end up losing it without getting anything done. Then you may as well have suicided it the very first time and actually get a couple of probes.
Can we see the units lost tab, actually?
And that's it.
Just 4 units.
Yeah, it's a Reaper, Medevac, and 2 Winterwinds.
Not bad, not bad. As Marine Lord would say after a magic trick.
Quick maths. So we're going to get a couple of extra Zealots. There are extra gases being taken. ShoWTimE actually has a lot of gas in the bank. Come on, drop that Templar Archives then, ShoWTimE. Or go second Robo Bay. But it's going to be the Templar Archives, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, he has yet to fully saturate all the gases that he just took, but already being on double forge is really nice. Usually when you open for High Templars this quick as well, doing a High Templar drop is so nice, like to try and storm some SCVs. It's totally worth it. A lot of the time you can kill a lot of these guys.
That Raven, though, Todd, could be very gnarly. Like, this is actually a perfect moment for a nice anti-armor missile on the Zealots, or maybe an interference matrix on the Immortal. A couple of times, HeRoMaRinE's actually tried to drop interference matrix on the Sentry, so there is no Guardian Shield and no force fields, but that would be a bit crazy. I actually don't think that HeRoMaRinE really has to do something crazy here. If you keep ShoWTimE on 3 bases, 3 base against 3 base is really not that bad for Terran.
And we have Storm now on the way from ShoWTimE. HeRoMaRinE reading the situation really well, actually.
Now, this is one of these games where maybe if you're a neutral, you're like, oh man, like they're barely fighting. This is not that interesting. But I actually think a lot of very high-level decisions are being made on either side with the information that they have. So it's a little bit of a chess game so far. It's just like, I'll go here, you go there, and I anticipate your next move is going in this direction, so I want to go here. There is, once again, interference matrix. Storm is not available yet, so ShoWTimE has to be very careful here. ShoWTimE, you don't have Storm.
He needs to be careful not to forget that. If he went for this too early,
I've been
could be
there.
pretty bad.
I've done High Templar drops without Storm.
Yeah,
It's like,
best.
auto attack! 6 damage!
At least they auto attack now.
Yeah, great.
Ooh, that's good on the Prism.
Yeah.
That Raven could get feedback really badly, by the way. Like, it's gonna have to be on point with the positioning. And I wonder if ShoWTimE will actually High Templar drop to kill some of those SCVs. Because right now, obviously, he has to be worried about an attack from HeRoMaRinE, so he needs that with his army to really have the mobility with his High Templars. Second Robo and Robo Bay being dropped down. he knows that there's going to be ghosts that he's going to have to deal with, and what better way than getting disruptors
Storm.
and Colossus.
Storm? Yep, that's the first Storm. The first one was actually really good. The other two, not too much. Now, the upgrade is ready, though, for the Ghost, the enhanced shockwave, and that means that the EMP radius is now officially bigger than the sun, and that means it's going to be very hard to split up your army. It's the Protoss.
Yeah.
I actually would love to see HeRoMaRinE force a fight as soon as 2-2 kicks in, right? Because I don't think he's going to go up against Disruptors then. Maybe 1 or 2, but no more than that. Colossus shouldn't really be part of the battle
He's
yet.
getting Vikings. He's getting Vikings and I think a starport. He's getting Vikings even before ShoWTimE has started Colossus production.
Vikings are also very useful in keeping the Prism away, though.
Yeah.
Because like it really is one of the power moves of Protoss. All of these guys are so good in dropping high Templars outside of a Prism. First Stargate on the way already for ShoWTimE.
I love this by ShoWTimE. You know, he recognizes that there hasn't been a fight yet. He doesn't know if there will be one soon. He knows that they might just push their forward. HeRoMaRinE actually gonna massively commit at first, but then turns around as soon as he realizes he's gonna get stormed.
Chasing into Storm is so risky, though. HeRoMaRinE, you're playing a very dangerous game here. Does EMP and observe it there, I believe, as well. There are 2 Disruptors on the way. There was a Colossus on the way at first, but ShoWTimE canceled the Colossus and now goes into Disruptors. He's like, nope, I want these Disruptors as quickly as possible, as we do have a little bit of a Zealot run by, but it's not getting too much damage done. I feel like this army of Gape is not that big, right? I feel like it should be bigger.
It's not nearly as big as him. Tell you that.
Not many things are, Todd.
Let's see if some high Templars can land some storms here. EMPs land massively. HeRoMaRinE, he's always pulling backwards at the last second to make sure he doesn't get stormed on top of his entire army. Just at the edge, anti-armor missile is gonna land yet again here from HeRoMaRinE.
First Disruptors have shown up, though. They come in from the north side, and now we do see extended thermal lands on the way. So I'd really love to see a couple of Colossus. I still think they're very good. I know certain people think they're no longer any good. And I would like to see HeRoMaRinE back off, though, Johan. I feel like he has so much supply at home on the other side of the map. There really is no reason for him to be fighting here, but he does actually land a big EMP, but he needs to get the hell out of here. Look at the minimap. There are so many reinforcements on the way. How does he keep sniping those?
That was so sick.
He's a sick puppy.
Oh my God, if that landed, he would have lost so much supply instantly. I didn't even need to look at it to know that. Oh my God.
Okay, Baz.
The nerves of HeRoMaRinE.
Yep. He is fearless. No, he's setting up once again a little bit of a run by. This is kind of
ShoWTime's totally already. Oh no!
Imagine if he unpowers the robotics facilities.
He's gonna
here.
do more than that. I think he's gonna kill both robos.
Yep, lands an EMP on these buildings as well. Why not? That's some free damage. That's no thermal lens for you. That's one robo going down. A couple of Stalkers go down. I do believe that HeRoMaRinE just lost a lot of units to that Disruptor, though, and this one will connect with a couple of ghosts as well. So cool moves, but also a bit risky.
Is it time to counterattack? ShoWTimE just killed a lot of the army here of HeRoMaRinE. He's trying to fight in 2 places at once to force mistakes out of him, to make it harder for HeRoMaRinE to actually kite. Both players looking to transition out of this as well.
ShoWTimE is floating a lot of money, Todd, because he lost those robos. He can't produce any expensive units anymore.
Yeah, and there's no Prism across the map here to do a big warp in and trying to buy himself some time, try to do some economic damage or anything like that. Robo Bay on the way yet again, more upgrades, and HeRoMaRinE is not missing a beat either. He's going into Liberator production, still expanding with this Command Center becoming a planetary fortress right now. And a cheeky little Dark Shrine is going to be dropped.
I think we're going to see Blink DTs. Hey, there's almost no vision at all, I think, on the right top side of ShoWTime's main base. Now, there's one observer, but those medevacs are going to actually be quite close, so maybe a big drop in the main base could be a very good play. I love it, man. These two thought we predicted a close series, and I think we actually finally were right for once, okay?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the score yet, but the games have been pretty close for sure.
Hey, this is actually kind of problematic. He has a 192 supply, so he can barely warp in any units. Obviously, recall is always available for Protoss if you're a little bit too far out of position, but that is a big drop. ShoWTimE obviously wants to get his planetary. He loses the Disruptor almost immediately, but he needs to take care of this, all of these units actually in his main base. Landed a Storm, but he's going to lose the Temple Archives. That's painful.
They are both so good. The positioning on the Disruptor was so good, and HeRoMaRinE recognizes he could snipe that from behind that rock. ShoWTimE actually going to come into the fight here. No, he doesn't. Yeah, he sees that there's too much with the Liberators in particular. He will chase away those medivacs and units away from his main base, but 11 SCVs were killed, and most importantly, that that base, that was the freshest one.
The Templar Archives went down, Todd, but also the Stargate went down. So I think we have like 1 or 2 Tempest out, right? But ShoWTimE is going to have to rebuild. Okay, he still has 1 Stargate. That was the second Stargate that went down. But Advanced Ballistics is almost out. There are 5 Vikings at once being produced now. ShoWTimE has a lot of splash damage, so obviously it is, you know, more than doable to win a fight. But he's going to have to connect eventually. And so far, I think HeRoMaRinE has done a really good job in this series in not eating too many storms or those disruptive shots to the face.
What an absolutely sick PvT here we're watching.
Nice.
Every single transition. Look at the production tab. They're getting everything they need to get. Plus 3 air weapons on the way for HeRoMaRinE now. It's going to help with these Liberators, those Vikings as well that he's getting now. Blink DTs, more Stargate being added on here for ShoWTimE. Just before he can start building up that bank.
This is not a very beefy army, Todd. Like, I look at it, and the real power is obviously in the Storm and on those couple of Disruptors, but it can't really stay away for too long. The Disruptors coming in from the left side, they do finally connect. That was a very good move by ShoWTimE. Beautiful positioning.
And those Zealots on the right-hand side are going to be very dangerous. It's a big wave of them. I just saw a bunch of Marines there earlier, but they actually now left that area. ShoWTimE is going to use the fact that HeRoMaRinE is going to be busy defending this to jump on top of that bottom hand side
EMP
location.
Oh, EMP could actually connect with almost all of those Templars, but HeRoMaRinE started a tiny bit too late. But Liberators are so good in keeping this safe.
It was those high Templars that connected with the army, I think, here with the Storms.
I mean, there is 1 Tempest, but it just takes a very long time before, and 1 Tempest takes care of anything, right? By the time you kill 1 Liberator, 3 or 4 more show up. It seems like HeRoMaRinE has taken care of that Zealot run by as well on the right top side. ShoWTimE is going to get a few more Tempests, but I recently saw a GSL match, and even though this Protoss army can be very, very powerful and has insane potential, it's also like quite weak in an actual straight-up fight, right?
Yeah.
So positioning is everything. ShoWTimE needs to make sure that he doesn't end up in a position where he gets EMP'd and he's forced to take a fight he doesn't want.
Whoa.
That's a good start for ShoWTimE.
Yeah, HeRoMaRinE moved out of position here. That was weird, the pathing maybe of his units. Oh, he's in 2 places at once with big chunks of army here. At the bottom with this much, at the top with the rest of his army here, trying to do as much damage as he can. ShoWTimE was on move command for a little bit. These are only Stalkers trying to fight against a lot of massively upgraded Terran bio down there.
Wow, almost all of the Stalkers were on the south side, Todd, which means that the Tempest, I think, were a little bit exposed. Look at these Vikings, they're chasing it down. The Tempests have taken quite a bit of damage, but not really all of them have gone down. ShoWTimE did warp in a few more Stalkers, and he does survive, and he keeps the Nexus alive in the bottom side of the map with a couple of Dark Templars as well that do have Blink, by the way.
What an absolute slugfest.
It's a cracker, Todd. It's sick. It's actually really cool.
Revelation taking a lot of this army here just before the Oracle dies. There's a bunch of Dark Templars. They do have Blink here.
Yep.
They're gonna need it.
Yeah, don't do that again, though. Man, I can't believe that HeRoMaRinE is still avoiding purification. No, but he must have been the absolute god of dodgeball, okay? I think that's where he got the name Big Gabe from. Because he must have hit everybody and somehow avoid all of these people. This is so annoying to clean up, by the way. Like 1 or 2 Stalkers is not going to be enough anymore. He's going to blink forward there, and he is going to be able to get it. But these Liberators, they 2-shot Stalkers. And that's quite sick.
And more Tempest here being added on. Dark Templars will try and find some damage. On the other side of the map, it's 66 workers to 67. Both players have a ton of upgrades. Now it's just about trying to work on the perfect composition. Personal cloaking is on the way for HeRoMaRinE, and that's a very important upgrade because the opponent won't always have an observer in the fight. You can scan, try and kill that, and if you have personal cloaking being used and ghosts rushing in against no observer, usually that fight's gonna go pretty well for you after you land some massive EMPs.
ShoWTimE still being annoying with a couple of Dark Templars as well. He's still harassing. These Tempests are getting some good shots off, and that means that HeRoMaRinE is forced to disengage for now. This Planetary Fortress taking a lot of damage. HeRoMaRinE is way out of position. Is he gonna try to save it?
He might go for a flank.
Yeah, but
he's setting up right behind this. I think he's gonna go for the flank here because he knows that ShoWTimE is missing some of his army and lost some of his units as well. Killing this, let's see. I mean, he has a choice.
There's still a lot of Storm available. The Tempest is going to spot this army. That's on the top side. I mean, HeRoMaRinE just lost a lot, so he kind of needs to get a little victory somewhere. He wants to get it, but I think it's just a little bit too late, Todd. And now ShoWTimE is actually really pulling ahead because he's still doing more economic damage as well on the right side of the map.
And HeRoMaRinE lost that very important base. He's going to have to move another one of his command centers there. EMPs land massively on top of his army. HeRoMaRinE didn't quite have personal cloaking yet, so a lot of these ghosts, they die in the process. One single Dark Templar going to town against this army. HeRoMaRinE not quite scanning yet. He's paying attention to the top left-hand side fight here with a lot of his bio. He's going to come in from multiple sides. I don't see any disruptive shots being used yet. And HeRoMaRinE is just so good at dodging those anyway.
The rest of the army is actually not that impressive, but ShoWTimE can still warp in some units, and he does finally connect with one of those Purification Novas, and that is all he needed. GG. We're all tied up here between these two monsters from Germany. What a series so far, Johan. First game, HeRoMaRinE playing absolutely fantastic. Second game, he played also damn good, but so did ShoWTimE. He made a couple of adjustments, didn't make the same mistakes as he did in the previous game, and that was fantastic to watch.
ShoWTimE applied quite a bit of pressure here finally when he found his rhythm, when he had defended well enough on his side of the map. And he forced HeRoMaRinE to actually have to go for it, because a lot of his bases were mined out or close to, and then he sniped the base that had the most minerals from HeRoMaRinE, and HeRoMaRinE said, all right, this is my time. I have to go right now, because the more I wait, the worse this is going to get. Goes for it, and ShoWTimE mounts the defense here to get the equalizer in this best-of-5 series.
I really felt that the DTs had a massive impact this game, by the way, because they actually allowed him to win that fight on the south side. They started to do some serious economic damage at 3 o'clock over and over again. They kept forcing out scans from HeRoMaRinE, where normally he wouldn't be looking at that side of the fight, because he's spreading himself out so much that he's mostly focusing on the top side of the battle, but then suddenly has to be paying attention again. And it's awesome to see. Actually, people came from all over the place, man. I met fans from England as well. They're like, yeah, he's like, you know, I wanted to go to Canada for a while, and then it just kind of lined up with me going to WCS, and he's like, I just really wanted to see it. It's super cool to see. We still have a lot of people here as well. These guys, they never get tired of watching StarCraft, Todd.
They got all the passion in the world.
The way it should be.
To be honest, these games in this series so far have been amazing, and we're not nearly done. This is a best-of-5. It's only 1-1. Both players still have everything to play for. Let's get started here with map number 3. We're going to be playing on HeRoMaRinE. And it's starting in the bottom right-hand side of the map, playing as the Blue Protoss. It is Team Makers ShoWTimE.
Big game, bigger plays. I love it. On the left top side, we're looking at the main base of our German Terran, representing Mouse Sports. It is HeRoMaRinE. Got an update as well, Todd, from the other series that's still going on at this point between, well, the one and only Jonas Satala versus Denver. Sarrow's currently up 2-0 in that round of 16 matchup. But hey, that also happened in WCS Summer. And then Denver almost made a comeback. And apparently that previous PvT that was really fun and cool to watch did go in favor of time. So that Chinese Terran once again with another good performance. You know, Johan, I really don't think, like, I've been following foreign StarCraft very, very closely. I think as close as one possibly could for the last 9 years. I don't really think that we ever had like a top 6, top 7 that has been as consistent as we've seen this year, right?
Yeah.
It's actually insane.
Yeah, it feels like some of these players have just reached such a level where like they're not just incredibly good, they also keep on posting consistent results, and that's very rare. Goes to show how well they've worked for this and how much. Having Stefano though going this deep,
I mean,
you know, I was trying not to overhype the French, because every time I do, you know, they kind of crash and burn in the next few rounds. But hey, Stefano is there and he's playing really well.
And he's playing a Terran tomorrow, which I think is his best matchup. So I just hope he behaves tonight, Todd. Like, I mean, he's in Quebec. People are nice to him. I already
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm going to do my best, okay? Because he's in the quarterfinals, man. That's absolutely amazing. But yeah, I mean, it's not just like, I know a lot of people say like, oh, the WCS circuit is just Reynor and Serral. But it's not. I mean, ShoWTimE, Neep, Special.
I mean, look at these games between these two. Like, this is such high level. They're both incredible.
And these guys, they keep on posting really consistent results. Quarterfinals, the absolute worst you're going to see out of any of those 6 or 7 players is like a round of 16. But most of the time, it's just quarterfinal, and then it kind of depends who gets Serral when, you know. It's really cool to see. I've never seen it before.
Ooh, can you get that? That was close. I love how HeRoMaRinE still tried. Like, he knew that was probably there, and there was the wall of ShoWTimE, but still went for it. Stargate being dropped on ShoWTimE's side of the map here.
He's switching it up. This is a slightly shorter map than the previous two. So ShoWTimE is going to try to play it differently as well. ShoWTimE is actually a fan of sometimes going for a couple of oracles and then also going for like 5 or 6 adepts and then just shading into the natural with those adepts and then showing up with the oracles at the same time. But this could also just be a macro-oriented play.
I mean, we do see the 2 additional gates here, so if you wanted to actually warp in a bunch of adepts and be aggressive, he definitely could do that. He's gonna have that option.
And get a cheap win. By the way, Johan, can you explain to me why HeRoMaRinE gets a bunker on Acropolis, he gets a bunker on Disco Bloodbath, and then on the shortest map, he's like, nah, don't need a bunker.
I think it's feeling based, like it depends what he scouts. Like now he saw some adepts.
No, he built them before he saw anything. Before the Reaper was even out.
Yeah, so sometimes you don't see anything, you already get some sort of feeling. Like,
oh, actually, I do. That's true in PvP. If the first probe shows up by the time
sometimes I wake up, the blinds are closed, and I'm like, I feel like it's raining outside. Then I open the blinds, and it's sunny as hell. So I'm wrong, but sometimes you're right.
All right, Todd. That's great logic. That's 3 extra adepts, by the way. So we're gonna keep a close eye. This is already 2 oracles, so it is going to be a triple oracle opening with a lot of adepts as well. And if HeRoMaRinE goes for a drop, it's bad news. Because if you go for a drop, it means you're going to lose pretty much everything at home. But if HeRoMaRinE keeps all of his units at home, it's probably going to be a lot better. It's just important that he doesn't lose like everything. It's okay to lose like 6 or even 8 SCVs against his opening. Oh man, he really needs to see this coming though, Todd. Why doesn't he have a bunker?
What a feeling. I feel that one was going to come.
This is Todd on like the 19th of December, and he wakes up, he's like, it's going to be sunny today, isn't it? And it's like minus 14 in Cologne. He's like, no, how could it be? I was like, well, Todd, it's winter, you know? No, this is bad, man.
Oh my God.
Todd, he has no missile turret, and no bunker. I want to close my eyes and tell me it's a lie.
Let's see.
Oh,
Marine's going to step away a little bit. Actually, there was a rogue WCS in there. It did a ton of friendly fire though to those SCVs. Oh my God. Please no.
I mean, sure, 1 Oracle went down, but there's still a lot of adepts here. The landed Viking is actually going to provide quite some DPS. It's 10 SCVs, but it's a lot of lost mining time as well. And this is where things get really painful. At this point, HeRoMaRinE is already down 16 workers. And don't forget about those oracles, by the way. The 2 oracles are still alive. They're about to show up. I want to say in the natural.
Oh, he didn't close the wall. Where did he log these in here?
I don't know, because I think he was afraid that those adepts were going to kill him. No, this is really bad for HeRoMaRinE. This is not working out. Obviously, his entire tech is being revealed. He's losing an insane amount of mining time. He's lost a lot of SCVs. And the worst case scenario is that he didn't even kill those oracles. He only got 1 out of 3. So the moment he moves out now, those oracles are going to show up and he's going to lose all the other SCVs. Yeah, well, this is curtains, I believe, Johan. We saw 2 fantastic first games, but ShoWTimE is switching things up. And Big Gabe guessed, and he guessed wrong here in game 3.
He stayed unpredictable here. Switched it up with these Stargates. HeRoMaRinE not quite ready for this. Even 1 single turret here would have done so much in comparison.
Absolutely, because then you can just pull all the SCVs towards the turret.
I think HeRoMaRine's going to all in. He's got +1 attack about to finish. I saw him get a tank.
Did he leave the Widow Mines at home then? I guess. There must be a mine here somewhere, right?
How about some turrets, mate?
Oh man, these oracles are going to pick up the reinforcements as well. This tank is in danger. I don't even know if the Marines could have won that fight, but ShoWTimE doesn't want to take the risk. Now this 1 drop does have some potential. This is kind of like the Hail Mary play. This is Aaron Rodgers throwing, keeping to the back base of ShoWTimE, hoping that there is a wide receiver there, Todd.
I have no idea what that means.
It's Antonio Brown, he just quit.
Oh my God, these oracles.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually, it's something.
Yeah,
right?
what the hell?
Okay,
43 army to 40,
and
he's got +1 attack. I mean, Charge just finished.
Oh my God, they just signed him. That's another sim. There's only a single meta game, but it's a lot of Marines. Guardian Shield is so good here, though. But a lot of the Zealots go down. The Phoenix goes down. No, HeRoMaRinE. You're down 22 workers, but is he actually making magic happen here?
Yeah, a single medivac to heal all of this is going to be really tough. The tank still doing a ton of damage and not being targeted. HeRoMaRinE with 36 army against 14 now. And that +1 attack is putting in work. He's pulling the boys. He's going for it. Let's see if the wall can hold on. ShoWTimE, can he get the defense?
There's 2 Archons, but if the Archons are, the Archons are going to do so much damage. He wants to step forward towards the Archon. Every Zealot hit is going to hurt so much. This 1 medevac has been putting in the overtime. HeRoMaRinE, do you have the DPS? The probes are being pulled as well.
You want to pull the boys with me? I'll pull the probes as well. Archon chasing the remainder of those Marines here. And there's still 2 of those left over. That single medivac walking overtime, trying to keep everything alive, but it's out of energy now.
Yeah, it's out of juice. It's been out of juice for a while. HeRoMaRiNE is going to try to drop the main base. He's going to try to spread ShoWTimE out. Obviously, Archons are terrible when it comes to defending drops, but ShoWTimE still has a much better economy. Every second that goes by is a disastrous one for HeRoMaRiNE. I thought he was down and out. He made it close, but in the end, it is not going to be enough. GG. ShoWTimE takes the 2-1 lead.
So nicely done. Mixes in a very aggressive build at the perfect time when HeRoMaRiNE just wasn't quite ready, didn't scout for it, didn't get the appropriate defense. Again, one single turret here I think would have helped so much against this.
I think a bunker would have been amazing as well, because both Oracles and Adepts are terrible against bunkers. And that's just the one odd thing. I must say, kudos to Gabe for still making that close.
Yeah, I thought he was going to do it for a second.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's
I
like
think if ShoWTimE doesn't pull probes, he might lose.
Oh, absolutely. I wonder if he needed to pull the SCVs. Like, did they really help that much?
I think they were just being killed non-stop by the Oracles, but he had killed the Oracles. So
I think one more medevac, like I know he was very broke, so don't get me wrong, but if there is 2 medevacs there instead of 1 medevac, I actually believe that he has the firepower to just pick off every single Marine that gets warped in, and Archons can be very clumsy there as well, and we know Archons and their T-Rex arms. Thank you guys for still being here in our final best of 3 of the day. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow with all the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the grand finals, which is going to be a best of 7. And then maybe Todd, maybe. For some reason, I felt like I was muted there, but I was like, maybe
I think
Todd.
you were.
Yeah, and then
or
at
just
the
for
end,
a second.
the end of tomorrow, what if we see Stefano lift that WCS trophy and qualify to BlizzCon? Wouldn't that be a fairy tale?
I mean, he's part of the intro here, right? I really like that intro, by the way.
Stefano may have done it, Tasteless. He's up over
like the
60 supply.
You see him with the flag as well, celebrating on stage. One of the most epic celebrations of all time as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Stockholm. We had a lot of fantastic StarCraft there, so we're just gonna hop straight into Game 4 whenever these lovely German nerds are ready. Normally we take a break, but since these guys, they don't want breaks, Todd. They're all about that efficiency. And it's not efficient to take a break in the middle of your session, okay?
9.
In the right top side of World of Sleepers, we're looking in the main base of our German toss. He's up 2-1. Montreal makes some noise for ShoWTimE.
His opponent in the red, representing Germany as well, and Mouse Sports, it is HeRoMaRiNE.
Another update for you, Johan. Cero has done it. He has 3-0 Denver this time, so it was very close. Ooh. It was very close in WCS Summer. This time, unfortunately, for Denver, it is going to be a little bit more one-sided. Cero makes it to the quarterfinals once again. That is 7 events in a row. Well, 8 actually, when it comes to the circuit. Not bad.
Yeah, well, what a shocker.
He's pretty good at the video game, isn't he?
Yeah.
All right, well, we have a very feisty, fancy opening out of here, coming out of ShoWTimE. Would you be suspicious, though? Would you say, like, that probe is like a little early, or you're like, nah, it's normal?
I think he probably timed it so that it's similar to when he would scout usually,
Oh
you know?
my God, this is so close, by the way. This is like the closest gate.
But it's perfectly calculated for HeRoMaRiNE not to see it.
What if the SCV bounces to the top side, though? Like, you
I
start
think he
building?
still wouldn't see it. You don't see much while you're building.
But, like, okay, now it bounces to the south, right? What if it bounces, like,
You
to the
will see.
left up?
Bro, why don't you trust me?
To the left up? Ah, you're so good, Johan.
Command center upgrade complete.
So the whole point of this is basically to try and counter that exact build that HeRoMaRiNE's going for with the command center on the low ground, trying to basically delay that as much as possible, do a ton of damage.
Wait, is there no repro opening this time? Is he just going Marine? Oh
One
my
single
goodness.
Marine.
Oh, this is a disaster. Todd, it's
Well, his name is HeRoMaRiNE for a reason, man.
all right, so the best thing you can do here if you're HeRoMaRiNE is just cancel the command center immediately. Like, I know your first instinct is always like, I gotta save this.
Yeah.
But no, don't trust your instinct there. You gotta cancel this. You're never gonna save this. This Stalker is way too early. You know it's a proxy at this point. He is gonna build a bunker on the high ground, and I think that is very good.
He's trying to get us around, but I mean,
Oh, don't lose that Marine. It's so sad if you lose that Marine.
ShoWTimE is just never gonna let that happen. He's just gonna poke here on that ramp for as long as he can, and yeah, okay, there it is. To cancel.
But that bunker is not done yet, though. And 2 Stalkers actually have a lot of DPS. This is going to cost quite a few SCVs. He's going to try to repair it. That's 1 SCV going down. The second SCV will go down as well. Now there is a WCS, and that's going to push these Stalkers away.
So HeRoMaRinE gets the defense. He restarts the command center inside of the main base, but ShoWTimE obviously knows the transition. It's going to be a Stargate a little bit further away. You know, when you defend this as HeRoMaRinE, you go down the ramp and you kill that gateway, and you're like, all right, finally, I've defended, you know, I've done it. You know what you really don't expect? A Stargate just a little bit further. And most likely what is going to be an Oracle to fly inside of your base to kill you.
Yeah, that depends, right? How much has he played on the North American ladder? Because
Probably
if you have played on the North American ladder, you're absolutely expecting that Oracle or a Dark Templar follow-up. You know, it's like one of the two, but it's going to be something quite bizarre. It's kind of a fun opening over here by HeRoMaRinE. It's sort of like a 2-1-1, so just a very quick stim. That's obviously going to be good against most pressure builds on the ground.
Where are the Widow Mines located? Is HeRoMaRinE able to anticipate that there could be a follow-up?
He only has 1.
Oh my god.
But he should have got quite a few Marines soon, no? He's going to get like 8 Marines, and he only needs like 4 Marines near that bunker. I think he can put the other Marines near the mineral line.
Yeah, will he? That's the big question.
We're about to find out, Tasteless.
Thanks for the compliment. On the other side, we've got ShoWTimE with the Nexus about to finish. Twilight Council as a follow-up. So I'm guessing he's just going to get 2 Oracles or something like that, and then just go somewhat into a more standard approach. Maybe with a blink, maybe charge. Okay, it's going to be blink.
That's I mean, obviously, like in a way, it makes sense, and it's very good in like when it comes to like controlling drops or controlling space. But it takes a long time right now to get blink, right? You open up with a proxy, then another proxy, Stargate, then you make oracles. Blink is not that good in a straight-up fight, and HeRoMaRinE actually is going to have quite a few workers. This matter of fact is going to spot these 2 oracles, by the way. That is a 6 scout. Well done. Look how quick he reacted as well.
Yeah.
Man, Gabe is on definitely on point.
So now he can start repositioning the Widow Mines. Is he still gonna drop?
Yeah, he's got stim here. He can actually stim forward. He's gonna hide the Marines a little bit. He's like, oh yes, oracles, please fly in. ShoWTimE is not falling for that bait.
Yeah. I like that, to be honest, because if you fly in there and lose one of your oracles to the Widow Mine, it's like really bad.
Or the Marines. Marines with stim. I mean, it's a very quick stim, right? Normally you don't expect stim 5 minutes and 10 seconds into the game. But ShoWTimE did scout a little bit with the Adept, so he kind of knows what he's going up against. That is a lot of Stalkers. Blink is not done yet, but HeRoMaRinE knows that that is a fight he cannot take.
Yeah. And he should know that there's going to be Blink on the way behind this as well. One of these oracles loses all of its shields.
It moved?
Before the fight even starts. Oh my god. Let's go.
Missile turret. Wow, that's the first Oracle has done absolutely nothing other than tagging that medevac one time. So
there was some reckless driving here. I mean, I know there is no speed limit on the Autobahn, but completely got caught by a radar.
It's going to take a long time before ShoWTimE has charge, right? Like, I mean, he might have it for the first fight, but I still feel like it's going to be quite late. And I think that the bio ball is going to be very big by then. I'd be somewhat uncomfortable from ShoWTimE. Like, on one hand, you're happy with the start, right? Because you forced a cancel in that command center. But I don't know if I would be very happy with how the last 2 minutes in this game went. He's going to blink into the main base. I'm not sure if that's going to work out, but he's going to try.
There isn't much nearby. Like, he should be able to get out after doing a bunch of damage. Okay, HeRoMaRinE reacts very quickly. A lot of SCVs are going to start dying very quickly.
He really wants that one Marauder, but he's not going to get that Marauder. Saves all of the Stalkers, though. Actually, I mean, that went pretty well for ShoWTimE, but it also means he's out of position at home, and this is deja vu of game 1, right? Stalkers are not home to defend, and even though it's just a single drop, we know that a single drop can do quite a bit of damage. Sentry goes down. I would just let these Marines die. The Marines are actually winning that fight as well. Yeah. And that's a lot of damage.
He was thinking about getting out, but then he realized the medevac's too low anyway. So looking to try and trade here. HeRoMaRinE making the most of those units across the map. 5 more gateways on the way here for ShoWTimE. He's got charge about to finish as that 3rd Nexus finishes as well.
But the one thing that's going to be very deceiving, though, Todd, is that it's going to be +1 bio against 0-0 gateway units. And that's not something we see very often. But then those Marines and Marauders are suddenly going to be a lot more effective against the Zealots. So even though numbers-wise, this all looks quite good for ShoWTimE, wow, that's very nice for HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah.
I actually think the state of this game is not that bad for HeRoMaRinE. If he can get a fight before +1 armor is done, I really believe.
He's got quite a bit more army here. I mean, obviously, ShoWTimE is now going to go into a lot of zealots with charge. We'll see. Let's see. I'm guessing he's going to go for that third base and some sort of a siege. But ShoWTimE has to catch up here in army supply.
I like the
60
size.
to 36.
Yeah, I like the size of this army, man. Like, ShoWTimE needs to buy some time with these Blink Stalkers. He knows it, but it's kind of difficult because he's got no upgrades on these Stalkers, and these Marauders have +1 as well. So that's one Stalker that goes down. The second Stalker is very low. Marauders stim one more time. No, Gabe's not going to chase too much. I don't know if ShoWTimE can hold him, man. Like, maybe if he gets a really good flank, maybe a Guardian Shield, but this is a very difficult hold for the German Protoss. He does have a sentry. Guardian Shield is going to be very important.
Yeah, the pylon's gonna fall here. 2 tanks, 2 Widowmines as well, a ton of bio, 2 medivacs to try and keep everything alive here.
Did a good job installing and buying time. Where are those tanks gonna go? Okay, that's, I mean, there are still Stalkers.
I guess he wants to stand on the high ground and try and kite back to the tanks.
Oh.
Oh, he's gonna do just that. Actually, whoa. ShoWTimE, that was weird.
The Widowmines are gonna get a very good shots up on all of these Zealots. I mean, this is actually going very well for HeRoMaRinE. Most of the Zealots are gone. The tanks have been picked off, though, so that's very nice for ShoWTimE. But I would still say that was a victory for HeRoMaRinE. He got almost all of those Zealots.
Yeah, ShoWTimE is microed a little bit against the tanks as well. One of those was left with very little hit points for a little bit. Double Forge in full effect here, going for those upgrades. Templar Archives just finished. He's going to warp in some High Templars, and that means he's going to be able to add Archons to his composition. Very important against this pure Bioforce without Ghosts just yet. But we do see HeRoMaRinE drop down the Ghost.
Survived for now, and that really wasn't that easy. I think he did a very good job installing, and then in the end, even though he was a bit out of position, he still got a good fight. Now he's got Archons. I don't know where they are. They're coming in from the north side, I believe. But he also has shield batteries, and that's going to make it a lot easier to defend that Nexus. So ShoWTimE survives, and he's still up 10, 11 workers.
Yeah, and from there, if he's able to really kick into gear with the production, start being aggressive on the other side of the map as well with some Zealots, that would be amazing. Is he setting up a flank? That was totally spotted.
I don't know if you really want to flank up a ramp, though. That's so... I've tried that. It never really works out. It's like then half of the army goes to the left and the other goes to the right. I'm like, oh, no. I'm like losing 10 supply here, 10 supply there. This is not good. Those High Templars are exposed. Storm was not done yet. And that's a nice snipe for HeRoMaRinE as well. But this is kind of hard to fight, though, against 2 shield batteries and a cannon.
Yeah, the fact that he's going for Ghosts and an enhanced Shockwave already, like, just looking at the production tab, I'm getting really worried for ShoWTimE because all HeRoMaRinE, there's no Disruptors this time. There's no Colossus either. All he has to do is stand there, make sure that no big storm lands, which obviously is still extremely hard, and he might be able to do really well in the fight here.
There is a 4th base going up on the south side of his army, which is actually quite funny because it doesn't really feel that ShoWTimE is in a place to defend that base for now. First Ghost shows up, a scan, so he's going to be forced to split these High Templars up. A couple of Marauders go forward very bravely, and they bait out a couple Storms, and they got one High Templar as well. No Storms available right now, I believe, Johan. Maybe one more somewhere, but I don't know where.
And these Charge Lords just can't go in there. Everything gets steamed here. HeRoMaRinE is ready to take the fight. Widowmines are going to leapfrog forward here.
No detection, which means that these Widowmines are going to be very annoying. All of them are going to fire. There's no detection at all, though. There's no observer.
Yeah, about that 4th base.
This is so awkward. Like, you don't even know what you're running into if you're ShoWTimE.
Yeah. I guess you need Stalkers to kind of demine the field, but it's so hard to do, and like it would take forever.
HeRoMaRinE is not going to fall for that either. By the time that you try to do that, this is going to unburrow the mines, right?
And you know that all stems from losing that one Oracle as well. If he kept on revealing everything here, it'd be in a pretty good spot to maybe try and take the fight.
I mean, +2 armor is done now, so if ShoWTimE gets a great fight, and obviously there's still Storm available, so even though this is looking good for HeRoMaRinE, and once again, HeRoMaRinE is playing a very good game, ShoWTimE is trying to do whatever he can to just get a little bit of momentum. One Storm and everything could be different. That's a decent Storm, but it's not the Storm that's going to change the pace of this game.
It doesn't really kill anything, and there are enough medivacs to really replenish those hit points here before the fight actually starts. CMP is still a big threat as well. Widowmine 2 is just still so hard to deal with without Observer. He's finally got one there.
Don't forget there is a drop heading towards the main base, and I don't really think there's anything there for ShoWTimE at all. So this is going to be very frustrating. I don't know if he's ready to wipe in a couple of units. He gets a forward blink. Warp Prism comes in from the right side, still carrying some very precious cargo. But this drop is going to hurt, Todd.
Yeah, it is. He's going to force a bunch of units to go back. ShoWTimE actually sending everything right now.
What?
Oh, no. all of his bases are going to be sieged at the same time. He was having a hard time splitting his units properly. So he moves back in that position, but he's already lost 9 probes.
Look at this setup from HeRoMaRinE. Isn't that beautiful on the left side?
Yeah, the pre-splits,
Yep.
bomber-esque.
Yeah, lands an EMP, lands a couple of very big EMPs on the main army. First on the High Templars on the right side, then on the main army. That drop in the main base, it did get finally cleaned up. But this army of ShoWTimE is already quite beaten up, man. These Archons, they aren't that powerful anymore. They're eating more EMPs to the face. Look at the concave. There is a storm, though. Protoss actually doing a little bit better than I expected there. What a race start, isn't it beautiful? I mean, ShoWTimE pushes it back, but he did lose quite a bit in the process.
Attack move is a hell of a key.
But oh no. Oh man, that's painful. Wow, ShoWTimE actually
now
takes
with
a
the supply
lead.
leads.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
HeRoMaRinE has such a good lockdown. I thought he might just be able to snipe those bases on the side, but he had to keep all of his forces there. And ShoWTimE does eventually get the defense, as HeRoMaRinE is going to want to look to try and secure himself a 4th base. So ShoWTimE took a 4th and 5th simultaneously. This is crazy. While still being siege in one of the sickest lockdown I've ever seen.
Yeah,
He broke out.
It really felt that HeRoMaRinE had almost everything that he needed, but in the end, ShoWTimE survived. I think a lot of ShoWTime's units were very low on HP, but it was just enough. And obviously, you're fighting near a reinforcement point, so I think a couple of the extra zealots, extra stalkers really made the difference there. And now ShoWTimE is starting to feel a little bit more adventurous. He's like, all right, let's get out on the map. Let's start spreading some of these observers. Let's finally get some map vision. I mean, HeRoMaRinE is actually ahead in upgrades, though. I mean, like, he's got the 2-2.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, that's +3 armor already.
Yeah.
That's done for ShoWTimE.
But he has 3-3 on the way.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be a little bit
too bad.
quicker. It's going to be a lot harder, though, once disruptors are out, right? Storm will connect.
Oh
Those some
God.
very good storms there by ShoWTimE.
It's what Terran nightmares are made of. I mean, obviously a lot survived, and it's going to get held up by those medivacs.
Why is he flying around with a War Prism with 24 HP thoughts with 3 High Templars inside of it? The man is crazy.
He has belief in his micro.
Well, I often do too, and then I get EMP'd.
What do you mean EMP? I lose the prism with everything inside.
Yeah, of course, but it starts with an EMP. And then a Viking shot or two, you know.
No, you don't understand. I don't have time to unload the units. The prism dies with everything in it.
There is this beautiful purple gas, of course, there. That EMP does connect. Well, there goes the War Prism. It's good to see that ShoWTimE is a human being just like us, Todd. I mean, I think we all like to play dangerous games, but that Prism
He's a
was
demigod. He's
a
not,
little bit
he's not
low.
a god.
The Colossus show up, but
Oh my
no
God.
thermal lens yet. And Colossus
Yeah.
without thermal lens are actually pretty underwhelming. 3-3 is almost done as well.
And that position was so bad for ShoWTimE. Everything got EMP'd. He had to pull back. I think he needs to let those shields replenish. He seems very tempted to go for the fight. I think he's trying to bait some of those EMPs, or at least force them and then pull back.
I mean, it felt good for ShoWTimE before, but HeRoMaRiNE's macro was really beastly as well. Obviously, the Artauran is on 4 bases, and I don't think Gabe has really lost any SCV since the beginning of the game, right? That's actually very impressive. How often do you see PvTs where just barely any SCVs have gone down in like forever?
This is rare. I mean, considering how it opened as well. Like, he got proxied, that command center got cancelled.
Well, Todd, you said he took his 4th and 5th simultaneously. He's about to lose them simultaneously as well. As ShoWTimE obviously realized that he can't afford it. He blinks in there on the left side, but that's not a very good fight. And these Colossus still not really having the impact, I think, that you're hoping for as a Protoss either.
Yeah, HeRoMaRinE has a lot, but not quite enough to deal with these Colossi properly here. No Vikings really in this composition. We see 4 being made at the time. In the production time, he needs to wait for those here to be able to re-engage.
I think HeRoMaRinE feels confident enough. That's a good Widowmine that's going to deny that base from being going down. Now a couple of Vikings show up, and these Stalkers are so low on HP. The Marauders are going to stim forward, and this seems like a massive victory for HeRoMaRinE.
Does he need Vikings? I mean, the first few 4 are going to get there. ShoWTimE perhaps overextending here, taking a fight so far out. Look at the supply. I think HeRoMaRiNE's done it here. So much left over. ShoWTimE lost patience, engaged into him, even styling on him here with an EMP on the probes.
Yes, hitting all of them. That looked very, very satisfying. The Vikings have landed as well. Another EMP. There are 2 disruptors that are going to show up, but those most likely won't make the difference. A lot of storms go down, but there is nothing else for ShoWTimE. HeRoMaRinE is going to send us to Game 5, the rubber match. And what an amazing best of 5 this has been.
And for once, the caster curse will not be. We will get a close series. and a fifth map here between these two, who are so evenly matched. This is super back and forth. Really amazing series, one of my favorites so far here in this tournament, and it's not even finished yet.
Maybe actually my favorite one of the tournament so far. I do believe that both these guys need a moment now. These obviously have been very intense games. So we're gonna head over to a very quick commercial break, and after that we'll be back with Game 5 between HeRoMaRinE and ShoWTimE.
Welcome back to WCS Fall here, live from Montreal, Canada. Wow. We saved the best series for last year, a German derby between HeRoMaRinE and ShoWTimE, and these games have been amazing.
They really have. I mean, we often joke about what it takes to win a Meisterschaft. Yeah, well, I think that this series kind of shows it, Todd. You got to defeat one or the other, and it doesn't seem very easy. It's really, I always like big national matchups in international competitions, man.
Yeah.
Like, in the old days, I always really loved it to see like a Nurcho versus an Laser, or like a French derby, you know, like Drogo against Stefano when Stefano was really in shape. I just think this kind of stuff is really cool.
Well, Stefano's more in shape than Drogo, right?
Oh, yeah, I think they're both very good. But yeah, this tournament, Illy has been absolutely amazing, especially in that ZVT. I can't wait to see him tomorrow. The way that I see it, Todd, is that tomorrow in our top 8, we have the 3 best non-Korean StarCraft 2 players of all time, with obviously Neep, Sero, and I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Stefano. That's my top 3. Reiner's getting close, but he needs a little more.
Yeah.
But I think Neve, Stefano, Zero, I think that is a top 3 that most StarCraft fans can live with. I can't believe they're all here in 2019. Anyway, let's get ready for our final game of the day on Triton. In the right bottom side, we're looking at main base. The German Protoss. It is showtime.
His opponent in the red, starting in the top left-hand side of the map, playing as the Terran. It is Mousesports HeRoMaRinE, aka Big Gabe.
Q&A, F2. That's my kind of StarCraft. Can't wait to be home.
F2 for life.
Yep, that's the only key. Like, people replace keyboards. I don't. I just replace my F2 key. You know, it's really annoying
that warranty,
like,
you know?
You know, it's really annoying that it like lights up every time you press it, so that people watch your stream and they're like, "Hey man, you do use F2 a lot, don't you?" And I'm like, "Oh!"
What are you gonna do about it? Try and stop me.
I can't, man. It's one hell of a drug.
Pretty early scout here from ShoWTimE wants to know exactly the way HeRoMaRiNE's opening here on Triton.
I feel quite a few mind games this series as well, right? We haven't really been talking about it too much because there's just been too much action. Like, often if series are boring, guys, or there isn't much happening, then we can talk about all the mind games they're pulling off and stuff like that. But there's just been so much action and quite a bit of variety in the strategies as well. But yeah, even stuff like the timing of the first probe showing up with the stuff that ShoWTimE just did in the previous game. And don't forget about what happened on map 3 with the Oracles and the Adepts. First 2 games, HeRoMaRiNE had a bunker. When he didn't have the bunker, that's when he needed it the most. So there is definitely a lot of stuff going through the mind of these 2 young men now as well.
And these 2 were like, you guys sat through Special versus Has. We have to reward you. So they made up for it and some more as well.
I mean, we also had Silky versus Shadone on the Acropolis. Last night I woke up in terror thinking of the first 15 minutes was really fun.
I thought I played passive and I never attacked, and then I saw Shadone's game, which is Silky.
I mean, Hazuops was like, well, this is not what I meant, but saying that defending is good, all right? Like, no, the first 15 minutes of that game on Acropolis were pretty cool. The other 16 was like, well, if one guy has 9 bases and the other one has 1, I mean, Brutal Infestor is pretty good, Todd, but I don't know if you can turn that around. But obviously, I mean, I think that's the beauty of StarCraft. Like, not every game can be epic. Not every series can be the sickest or the greatest, because that's not possible. That's not possible with any sport, with any video game, and definitely not with StarCraft either. But this is absolutely one of these series where you're like, damn, this is fun, man. This is good.
Yeah. Both of these players are almost guaranteed the global finals. They're currently in the top 8. And unless a single player, or like there's still like some players that can get a miracle run, basically win the tournaments, I don't think they should be getting out of it. But obviously, in this case, I think it's HeRoMaRiNE that's in 6th place. Obviously, if he loses to ShoWTimE then gets small points. So they're still, let's say, in a little bit of danger, but it's very unlikely either of them would drop out of the global finals.
I think there's only one way that they would drop out, and that is that if Stefano wins the tournament, Eleza wins his next round, and obviously the person who loses here. Yeah, but yeah, that's
that's a lot of ifs and maybes.
Absolutely.
But obviously, the best way to make sure that doesn't happen is to advance. Hellions are gonna get in there.
Not a bad start for Gabe at all, I'd say. It's 5 probes, a little bit of lost mining time, and it's a scout, right? He saw the Adept, he saw the Oracles. So if you don't build a bunker or a missile turret now, Gabe, we're gonna have a little conversation about it.
There's no hope for you. But yeah, here is the turret in the natural. It's gonna go into quite a few Marines here.
Look how fast STIM is, by the way, with this build, Todd. Oh my goodness, it's like 80% done. Can you believe that?
And Medivacs are gonna be pretty quick as well here. We see the starport on the way at depths. Do they go for it? There's the cover of that turret here against the Oracles. I don't think he can.
Nope, he absolutely cannot. STIM is almost done, so you got to be very careful with these Oracles as well, man. This is not a start that if I was ShoWTimE, I'd be happy with at all. And this is one of these things where it's a tiny bit complicated to explain, because like numbers-wise, it doesn't look that bad. You could say like Protoss should have a bigger lead, but it's the tech that's so incredibly late, right? The Twilight Council gets warped in when STIM is done. Are you kidding? Forge is only now starting as well. There is no robotics facility, which means that if these Oracles go down, there is no detection, there is no warp prism to counterattack, no access to Disruptors or Colossus. I really don't like the start for ShoWTimE, but it all comes down to these Oracles. Can they make the difference?
Yeah, absolutely, because he invested a lot into those. They laid his stake to make those 3 guys. One of those is going to get sniped here. as he only killed a very few Marines. HeRoMaRinE really on point with those moving shots here from the Marines. Lost 4 of those and killed 1 single Oracle. We now have 49 probes to 44 SCVs, and HeRoMaRinE is in full mass Marine production with 2 medivacs on the way now as well. He's actually grabbing concussive shells and I think some mortars as well, and his army is actually going to look very scary here in a second.
Oh no, ShoWTimE. Oh no, if he's still... Okay, he saw it.
This is revealed, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know.
No!
You know what's really interesting, by the way, is that he's going Blink Stalkers, but he's also going +1. More often than not, Protoss players will open up with armor, but I think ShoWTimE realizes that like armor is good for Zealots, but he's gonna have to win a fight before he ever has Zealots and charge, and that's why he's going for shield batteries and +1. Because Stalkers, they're obviously not that great in a straight-up fight, but if you have an overwhelming amount of Stalkers and you've got shield batteries, then you can maybe make the difference with a Guardian shield and +1 attack as well. But ShoWTimE knows he needs to buy time, because right now he doesn't even have Blink Dot.
And okay, he still has a Guardian shield left over at least. The Oracle's taking a ton of damage. HeRoMaRinE resetting the position well as pulling back. Kills one of the Oracle, almost kills the other one. And he's doing so well with the micro. ShoWTimE should have enough here with his additional Stalkers being warped in.
Those batteries saved his spot there, Todd. Without those batteries, he doesn't stand a chance at all. He didn't have Blink yet.
This is so odd too, like to see batteries there between both bases. But guess what? It worked out.
No, perfect. Absolutely perfect call there by ShoWTimE. I was very worried because I didn't want this game to end right here, right now. I don't care who wins. I like both these guys a lot. But it's been such a good series, and you don't want to see Game 5 end in 6 minutes. I still think that HeRoMaRinE is in a pretty decent position, but ShoWTimE survived already one very scary phase, but he's not done yet. He needs to do that a few more times.
And HeRoMaRinE is going to want to look to use his superior army, in numbers here at least. Try and find some damage.
That's
it
a
was
gateway.
yeah, with the gate.
Look at Big Gay picking up that Marauder as well. He's like, you're not going to get a Marauder. But ShoWTimE is like, you're not getting my gateway then.
You'll get nothing.
What are you going to do about it?
HeRoMaRinE is setting up the 3rd base here in the meantime, very nicely as well. 2nd eBay, Armory on the way, taking more gases, and his production is going to be massive here.
With the mines, that's where things get complicated though, right? This doesn't really feel like a game where if I was ShoWTimE, I'd feel confident enough to rush into like Storm.
That's a lot of Stalkers, by the way.
Yep.
It's still Stalker heavy, which is unusual.
Yeah, but that's why he got the attack over the armor, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, you're supposed to transition now, I guess, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's not going to try to win the game here, but I think he just felt like, all right, the start didn't really work out. I need something special here, and I need to make sure that I can also defend drops. And if you only have 6 Stalkers, you might be able to buy time somewhere, but you can't defend the drops. Okay.
You know, Terrans for such a long time, they were so reluctant to grab Ghosts this early, but I feel like now that there's enough shockwave, they're like, hell yeah, I'll get that Ghost Academy.
No, the matchup, it looks better. It really does. I mean, I don't want to get too carried away, right? Because the patch just started, so I'm not going to say like, all right, everything is fine. This is perfect StarCraft. I don't want to go that far, but to me, the matchup looks more fun. It looks more dynamic and more back and forth, and it definitely seems more fair as well.
Nice sniping here and prevention from that base going down on the bottom left-hand side. ShoWTimE is going to have to take the 4th base on the right-hand side. We see Storm in the production tab now.
Don't lose that Oracle. He loses the Oracle. Wow. Oh, no, he has no detection, Todd.
And he restarts another one immediately.
Yeah.
A little bit sloppy from ShoWTimE here. Maybe the pressure is getting to him a little bit.
I mean, it's Game 5, and it's been a very exhausting series to play. Like, if I would play...
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes if I play just one of those games, I'm like, woo, I need a break, guys. And they just had, like, 3 thrillers in a row, pretty much. You know, there was only one game that was short. But even that game got scary, the Game 3, that is. So I can totally imagine that, like, you know, fatigue is starting to kick in. Don't forget, this is the end of a very long day as well. I think
it is. All right, and then Shockwave on the way now. 3 Ghosts being made at the time. Quite a few upgrades. Vikings being added on from HeRoMaRinE, who's still being active on the map. He knows there is like no real big threat other than Storm, which is looking out for. ShoWTimE moving out of position here for a little bit. Like, for those EMPs to land is normal, but he lost quite a few Zealots here. He's trailing a little bit in supply.
Storm is done, but the EMP upgrade is almost done as well. There are Widowmines here. We got to be careful with the SCVs. Friendly fire actually hurts those SCVs quite a bit as well. Landed Viking. No, the Ghosts and Marines are going to take care of this. But ShoWTimE does buy time again. And I mean, he's up to 4 bases, Todd, and he's got Storm. It's still a difficult game for ShoWTimE, but he's absolutely in it. He's even up 7 workers.
2nd Robo and Robo Bay as well being added on for ShoWTimE. Wants to go into that Usually I say Colossus, but it seems he really likes Disruptors as well.
I think Disruptors are very good against the gulls. If your upgrades are not fantastic on the ground either, that is an EMP. Does a little bit of damage. I don't know how many High Templars we have. I thought we have a couple on the right side, right? And obviously in the War Prism, there are still a couple of High Templars as well, as our lovely observer Mapu is showing us, who's done a fantastic job today. That War Prism gets close. Man, this is such a fun dance, right, between the EMPs and the Storm. I've always loved it.
Well, if you're Terran, I'm not sure. it's more stressful than anything, even though they've gotten to a level where they're actually doing really good with it.
More Zealots being annoying. I have no idea where they even come from. I guess they just run from the south side of the map. It's kind of
just go all the way around.
Yeah. It's really good timing as well. I don't know if the Gabe does that on purpose, but he just leaves a couple of buy units behind, so he can actually deal with that kind of stuff. If you have nothing there, that can become very painful. 3-3 upgrades are now on the way. Gabe is still roaming around the map, looking for openings. He could land a sick EMP deck. Do they even have energy to store? I guess they don't. Oh, no. Oh,
they
no,
sure
no,
don't
that's
now.
painful. That's painful. Now he's going to go up the ramp as well.
He's maxed out. He's actually maxed out against ShoWTimE, trailing behind his supply, 122 to 88. ShoWTime's going to get in there.
ShoWTimE needs a Storm. He really does need a Storm. He sends it this Purification Nova forward, and he gets it. Lands a Storm as well. But I don't know if it's enough, man. This Terran army does have quite a bit of DPS. One more Disruptor, but doesn't really get anything other than its own Zealots.
Oh
ShoWTimE is forced to evacuate this base.
Big Gabe has so much more. The Prism flew on top of the army before dropping down the High Templars, but that was too late. ShoWTimE trying to hold on. He's losing so many units. HeRoMaRinE has just got so much more. He's gonna evacuate, but he's done the damage here, sniping that fourth base and having his own on the other side of the map. Fantastic play here by the Terran player. 3-3 on the way behind this. Production still in full effect. He's still getting a ton of SCV somehow, even though he's up to 78.
I mean, it's good to be rich, Todd. He's going to find a few more High Templars. The batteries, they were fantastic earlier, but I'm afraid they're not going to make the difference this time. Those two Disruptors, they are dreaming, but HeRoMaRiNE's micro in his entire best of 5 has really been freaking amazing. There's no other way to put it. Absolutely stunning performance by HeRoMaRiNE. He said in WCS Summer, he doesn't just want to be a good Terran, he wants to be seen as one of the very best in the foreign scene, and I really think, Todd, that he's doing that for the second year in a row. HeRoMaRiNE is going to qualify for the WCS Global Finals, and he's also going to make it into the quarterfinals here at WCS Montreal after winning an absolutely fantastic series over ShoWTimE. Job well done.
Our third Terran to make it to the quarterfinals. And what a way to do it here, beating ShoWTimE, one of the absolute best. That was extremely convincing out of HeRoMaRiNE.
That was fun, man. I'm always so happy when we end the day on a high note, right?
Yeah,
you don't want to end the day on 3-0s. Like, no, you want to see some awesome back and forth StarCraft, and I think that's absolutely what we got here. I know the man is on stage with Cloaken, so Kevin, take it away.
You got it, Kev. That's right. I'm here with HeRoMaRiNE. You must be exhausted, my friend. That was a very long series. Incredible StarCraft. Were you guys entertained? That was the best match of the tournament by far. How are you feeling? How did you feel about your performance?
I think the series overall was pretty good. There were a lot of 3-0s in the round of 16. I felt like our match was the closest. In every match, the favorite advanced, and our game was even. So I'm not surprised it was the most interesting one, at least for me. It definitely was.
That's awesome. Now, as the tournament has progressed, your place at the Global Finals has become more solid. How much has that been weighing on your mind throughout the course of this weekend? Is it something that you've carried with you a bit, or have you been able to just focus down on the work in front of you?
So normally, I care more about the actual tournament, but in this case, I'm very happy to be in the top 8 in the end, since now my next opponent is going to be Cyril. So aiming for like a top 4 or a win if you have Cyril in the round of 8, it's pretty optimistic. So yeah, I'm aiming more towards BlizzCon. Reaching that this year again is great. It should be secured at this point, and maybe I can do something against Cyril, but I think he's grown even stronger now after Asus Rock. He managed to recover. He struggled a little bit for his standards, but now he's like in top shape again, so it's going to be insanely hard against him.
Well, we wish you all the best. I'm going to let you go so you can get your rest and prepare for tomorrow. One more round of applause here for HeRoMaRiNE as he moves on. Thank you so much. It's been an incredible day. Day 2 WCS Fall. I've had an amazing day. How about you, Kalaris?
Oh, absolutely, Cloaken. What a change of pace here. And not only a change of pace in the series as a whole from our 3-0s, but it felt like methodical play. It felt like deliberate play from both of these players, ShoWTimE and HeRoMaRinE, going toe-to-toe to the wire. Guys, what a series we just witnessed.
That was an amazing series.
Yeah.
It just what an amazing series. The control on both sides, going for gutsy strategies. I mean, just the World of Sleeper game. That was just that game just to open like the gateway right in your face, proxy the Stargate, and like the way that everything just stretched out. I've really been enjoying watching the TVPs this tournament. And, for me, you know, I'll go full on bias. First time I could really say that in a long time. I really like the dynamic that we've been seeing at this WCS fall. A lot of use of those ghosts in much more effective manners. And I agree with HeRoMaRinE. It was the most even match. It was the best match that we had all day. Went all the way down to the wire.
I like how HeRoMaRinE was actually, yes, my series was the best. To be fair, I was on the edge of my seat for a lot of that. It went really, really, really down to the wire when it came to these two. I was like munching on my popcorn as well.
That's ASMR.
That's my ASMR fever right there. It was so good. And this is really good too, actually. I'll put it there for the moment. Great series.
So disturbing to start your eating. Yes, it was a great series. I like the way that they were forced to control the individual armies was so amazing to witness. And like, I actually started really feeling for the Protoss. You know, like me and you are Terran players, but I actually really felt for the Protoss in this instance with the new EMP upgrade. Man, I was like, how are they keeping their storms alive? But ShoWTimE had them there and in the War Prism as well, and he was controlling the flow of the matches with the Stalkers, but it wasn't quite enough because HeRoMaRinE was doing like equal amounts of just everything. Yeah, like really the epitome of PvT player right there.
It was, and perhaps the least fitting analogy of all time, the ultimate arm wrestle, where it was just going slowly back and forth until one final tipping point crushed it. Of course, in real life, ShoWTimE would never lose to any human being on Earth.
That's true.
But I also just want to say, I love the interview answer because no matter how well anybody plays, they all say the same thing. Well, I did really well, but, Sarah, so I may as well just go home now.
he's even stronger now.
He's grown, in the words, exactly. He's grown even stronger. The Zerg have continued to evolve.
God damn it. Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's like, after such a sick game, it's like, how you feeling? Can you do it? Can you take it all this time? He's like, Sarah's alive, so I cannot really do much against him. Like, well, there you have it. Everybody's like, yeah, we might as well just...
That's spot on.
It's brutal. Might as well be French at that point. Anyway. Hey, let's check in with the bracket, as we do have, of course, our round of 8 confirmed, as we have 7 of the 8 players that were in WCS Summers round of 8 now here once again. Stefano is the outlier. If the bracket had worked out a little bit differently, it would have been 8 out of 8, with ShoWTimE being the one that was to fall here to HeRoMaRinE. But it's a great top 8 once again.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Consistency even with a new map pool and a new patch.
Yeah.
That is awesome to see. A little light on that Protoss side, though. Just Neeb representing there.
What do you think?
I mean, the competition's been incredibly stiff this whole entire tournament. We talk about the players that were actually able to eliminate those Protoss, and I mean, I think the Terrans performing a little bit better than usual against the Protoss in this tournament as well, but blowing up like big guns like that. Laser after his second place finish, GSL versus the world. Tough for Drogo, and just this is an awesome top 8. I think the most fun part, as you already pointed out, is that we got the odd man out.
That's right, we
got
do.
Stefano. And for all the fun things we can say and all of the wonderful stories and history and legacy he has, it adds a special sort of pizzazz to this tournament. We're like,
it's weird.
It's the end of the circuit year.
Yeah.
Okay, we're trying to see, can anybody beat Sarah? But then at the same time, you're like, even if we just agree that Cyril's going to win this tournament, right? It's like, well, how far is Stefano going to go? Is he going to make it to the final? Is it going to be a Stefano versus Cyril final?
Imagine that. That would be 2 eras clashing. But to that point, though, for me, out of the round of 8. It's my most anticipated match. And I didn't think I would ever be saying this coming in, that Stefano in the round of 8 is my most anticipated match. But it is just out of curiosity's sake, almost, Zombie Group, to see how kind of that's going to shape up, because Stefano has been playing very well.
Yeah, of course, the B stream has been able to cover some of his matches, but we really haven't seen Stefano and why he's winning, right? But apparently it's legit. Masa was playing totally legit. His TVZ versus Scarlet was quite, standard and just very well done. And so I came in thinking like, okay, Masa's got this, but no, Stefano 3-1 him. Like, Stefano's TVZ is actually just good.
Masa himself said it was going to be easier than Scarlet, and then
everyone is underestimating him. And I know like his ZVT is obviously like one of his best, but that was up to a certain standard, until now. And now it's like, oh no, like Stefano's actually up here. Okay, so maybe Special has to be a little bit worried.
Yeah.
We finally underestimated him enough. That's the answer. Finally, we kept being like, will Stefano Evolved appear? Will Stefano Evolved appear? And then at this tournament, we're like, guys, we're not even gonna try and sell this, this BS story to you. And then Stefano's like, now is the time.
Now is the time. At the very end of the just before the global finals comes up.
But I agree with you for the same reason. Because who's actually trying to get to BlizzCon now?
Right.
I mean, would it be not the most amazing story if he actually gets first place?
To be fair, if he did, he's the only one that can upset the balance right now, which is fair to say. All right, well, thank you very much, guys. Of course, as we are done here for today, day number 2 in the books. There was a lot of 3-0s, but we ended with the very, very best there with that fantastic 3-2 to conclude things. Tomorrow, we will be back 9:40 local time to figure out who is going to be our WCS Fall champion and figure out all of the hustle and bustle with the top 8. Thank you very much for tuning in for day number 2. We shall see you tomorrow for the final day of WCS Fall.